I definitely agree. And you've mentioned a few times how orthodoxy is the full truth, right? And I mean, that would imply if you get lesser forms of truth, you're eventually just going to, collapse into an incoherent, completely incoherent worldview. And like, I was wondering if you could expand upon this note. What does it mean for orthodoxy to be the full truth? It's the truth and the full truth, but we wouldn't say that the truth as such is limited within the canonical boundaries of the church, right? So like what is the Orthodox understanding of itself as the full truth, and how does it relate to heterodox Christian sects and even atheist philosophies?
Yeah, no, that's a good question. I think you framed it. You framed it in the right way, and I don't know that I can do it justice in terms of really articulating it. But the idea is that orthodoxy is the fullness of the truth, not the ultimate arbiter of truth and falsity. It's hard to get out of our scientific way of thinking of what truth is, right? Truth in the scientific ways, you have a hypothesis, you have an experiment, and if the outcome of that experiment matches the hypothesis, you have a truth event, right? That is truth, right? Now, saying that orthodoxy is the fullness of the truth or Christ is the truth does not negate that being a truth event, right? The truth is a richer, broader, more all-encompassing kind of idea. It's more of like a revelation in a sense, in terms of Heidegger, of disclosure, right? A disclosiveness, an appropriation, an unconcealedness. There's a lot of different words that kind of, attest to this idea. But I was really into Taoism before, right? And the Taoism is really logos centric in a sense. And there's this idea of logos spermatikos, right? Where the logos is like, the logos is the fundamental organizing principle of reality, right? And the logos really manifested to man in the life and death and resurrection of Christ. That is the logos in its purest form. It's the second person in the Trinity, right? But that doesn't nullify the important insights from Lao Tzu, or let's say, right, or in Taoism, right? Because the logos manifests itself in different world systems, religions, histories, philosophical, underpinnings in a sense throughout the world, and it's kind of been a history of the truth revealing itself at different levels of fidelity throughout the world and throughout history. And from an Orthodox perspective, that truth became man, right? Became really apparent to humanity in the life of Jesus Christ. And then from there, following his commandments, following his life is what Christianity is about. It's not about, moralizing. It's about, following the commandments, purifying the heart and the nous, right? And then what that means, that orthodoxy is the fullness of the truth, will emerge in your consciousness if you follow the commandments. It's hard to have a discourse about it. And let's say if someone's an atheist and they're hearing this information, like, to talk them into it. They're like, oh, I just heard James say that orthodoxy is the fullest of the truth. He gave a good argument. Now I'm Christian. Like, that's not how it works. It's something that comes from the inside out, right? And it's something that's disclosed to the heart. Heart has been covered over. The nous is an Orthodox term in Orthodoxy that kind of means the heart mind, right? And the heart is the kind of central aspect of reality in terms of Orthodoxy and Taoism for that matter, right? But our nous has been darkened, right? Our ability to perceive spiritual truths and spiritual insights has been darkened over time for many various reasons, right? There is a process to bring in light into the heart, right? Bring in light into the nous. And in doing so, the understanding of why and how orthodoxy is the fullness of the truth will be disclosed to you. The best part about this is it will happen. If you follow the commandments, you start, praying, and doing the things that orthodoxy, says to do, it will happen to you, So that's one of the things about the truth. The truth is a truth, whether you believe it or not. And if you can find your path to kind of follow the breadcrumbs, from wherever you're at, you will realize and come to the understanding of what that means. So I don't know if that did anything,
No, yeah, for sure. And I completely agree with the experiential, like, it's fundamentally experiential. That's our theology. But also from my experience, the Orthodox theology as a system is a coherent whole, and it fits together very harmoniously, in my opinion. And I think when people are looking at reality, people in our community emphasize this a lot. They have presuppositions which structure the way they perceive it. And if we're accepting, as we do, that Orthodox theology is the correct worldview, and we have the correct presuppositions, when you look at reality and you see the way things work, if you're thinking as an Orthodox Christian, you'll be able to see how everything fits together, because like just stuff in the world will end up making sense, right? Like philosophical concepts, if you're asking the right questions in philosophy, if you're asking truthful questions, if we're saying we have the truth, we'll have answers to those questions. And I definitely, and that's why I definitely believe in this neo-patristic way of reading the modern philosophy, because Western philosophy was alienated from the Orthodox Church and from our theologians for so long, and they developed all of these presuppositions and stuff, which they've done the work of critiquing for us. And that, I think this is definitely where our opportunity is. So yeah.